Pacers won in Detroit in the first game of the first half of the regular season. The first game in the second half, also an Indiana win at Little Caesars Arena, one with a little emotion, some physicality, and some clutch plays, some great outside shooting throughout from Miles Turner. The Pacers take 2 of 3 in the season series. There will be one more Pacers-Pistons matchup in a couple of weeks at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Emotions high tonight. I'm guessing that will be a highly anticipated showdown as well. But we're talking about a 111-100 victory. Pacers over the Pistons. You are watching the Andy Moore Automotive Pacers live post-game show. The Pacers started the season not able to have any kind of success away from home. They were 2 wins in their first 12 games away from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. They've won 10 of their last 12 on the road, including 10 of 11. So the Pacers have figured something out. They're playing with all kinds of confidence on the road, and the best news is they're starting to get their team back. Aaron Nesmith returned tonight. Minutes restriction, but great to see him back out there. Also good to see Tyrese Halliburton only missed 1 game with that groin strain, and also nice to see Miles Turner knocking him down throughout. Our Menards, big money, big shots of the game, and I asked Miles about this, if it's part of the game plan. You know the Pistons like to crash the glass. They've got some talented bigs, but guys that may not want to extend and guard him outside the three-point arc. He made 5 threes in the first half, finished with 8 of his 9 made field goals were threes. Also talking a lot in those huddles. A game high 28 points. Also plus 16 in the plus minus category. Miles Turner stretching the defense and a difference maker throughout. Miles Turner, your Menards big money shots of the game. Tim Hardaway Jr. got the Pistons started early. The Pacers, I think you'll take that kind of defense. Cade Cunningham, if he has 20 and no one else has a spectacular night, you do the job. You hold the team to 100 points, you're going to win a lot in today's NBA. The Pacers bench is good, but this is one of those nights the starters did the heavy lifting. Those 5 starters on the screen, in fact, 4 players in double figures, all in the starting lineup, and Aaron Nesmith probably would have been in double figures if he would have played in the second half. A great welcome back game for Nesmith to get 9 points in 9 minutes and also come out of the game healthy. You'll likely see that minutes load improve as we move forward. Much more still to come. We'll get the comments from head coach Rick Carlisle and chat about this one with Quinn Buckner when we return on the FanDuel Sports Network. Pacers live postgame is brought to you by Andy Moore Automotive, where more means more, and by Hope Plumbing, local, honest plumbers. Pacers get a big win over the Pistons. These teams entered the night a combined 13-2 in January, so this is a victory that means a lot. And where these teams were in the standings when the night started, just a half game separated. So now you can do the math. A game and a half, the Pacers ahead of the Pistons. Quinn Buckner is with me. What did you think the difference was in this game?
I really thought the Pacers' defensive presence was there. I think right from the very start, Andrew Nembhard did a nice job on Cade Cunningham, and you never saw Detroit get into a rhythm. They got in a little bit of it in the third quarter, but everybody makes a run, and the Pacers took it back. I think that was really the important thing. Cade Cunningham is their star, and he did not have his rhythm because I thought the Pacers did a good job on it.
And Rick Carlisle noted in the first 2 Pacers-Pistons games, Detroit led throughout. Pacers did get a win in the first one, but they had to come.
Very effective on the defensive end. You can take a look at what you're able to get. They shoot 36 threes. They only get 9 of them to go. So I think that's significant in that regard. But I think for the most part, the Pacers were able to capitalize on the turnovers, and that's where you can get out and run and get some easy buckets.
Indiana Members Credit Union with the final stats, 46% from the field, but you hold the Pistons to 40. I know the rebounding is something they'll probably try to improve upon, but that's Detroit's strength, and you can counter that. When you do get those rebounds, you can make them pay with the fast break.
Yeah, you can push it up, no doubt about it. I think that's what the Pacers did, and they did not turn it over, I thought, very often. Pacers did a nice job of being able to handle the ball under the pressure of Detroit.
Quinn, how nice was it as we go to break to see Aaron Nesmith back out there on the court?
You're thinking the same thing I was. I thought it was terrific to see him out there. I think his teammates enjoyed the fact that he not only got out there, but JJ, he was effective in terms of knocking down shots. So it's good to see him out there. Defensively, he'll be there, making threes. This is another piece of the arsenal you can add.
Only played 9 minutes, but made those 9 minutes count. Scored 9 points. We're back after this. Live postgame has been brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards for all your home improvement needs. And by Ascension St. Vincent, listening to you, caring for you. Back one final time in the Motor City. The Pacers pick up a 111-110 victory over the Pistons, now 7-1 in the month of January, playing a great winning brand of basketball. Chris Denary joins me now. An intense matchup.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen a Pacers-Pistons game that sort of felt like this one felt tonight.
Yeah, it did, and it was like that from the start. You know, Indiana got down, Hardaway hit those threes, but, you know, I got to give a lot of credit Andrew Nembhard tonight. I'm looking at Cade Cunningham. He had 20 points and 9 assists, but he was 7 of 21 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. I thought Nembhard did a great job in helping take Detroit out of what they wanted to do most of the night because of his defense on Cade Cunningham.
The birthday boy, Andrew Nembhard.
Andrew Nembhard celebrates a birthday with a win.
Let's hear now the post-game comments from Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle.
Rick, your first half offense got you guys, a big lead that you can carry into the second half. What's that about the way you guys were playing that generated the offense you wanted?
Well, we knew this was going to be a physical and emotional battle. I mean, this is a team on the rise. You know, we're right there with them in the standings. It's a divisional game. You know, they beat us bad the last game, and so, you know, I liked our disposition. We stayed tough. We stayed together. We kept our poise. And they made runs, which we fully expected.
It's obvious making shots is good, but Miles Turner career high 8 threes. What stood out about the way he was getting open, how the team kept getting him the shots he needed?
Yeah, people kept finding him, and he was in a groove. You know, he was in a groove for sure. But more than the shot making, I loved his attitude, the way he played the game. There were a lot of things that happened that weren't great things. He had a couple times where he fouled. He was trying to foul Dern and, you know, make him go to the free throw line. He got an and one a couple times, but he just kept concentrating. He didn't get too high or too low, and I thought his demeanor and his even emotions were a big factor for our team.
What was your assessment of Aaron Nesmith's 9 minutes that he had in this one?
Very good, very good. Obviously, fresh legs, that was evident. He moved well. He felt good. After the game, he's doing fine. So, you know, we can build it from here.
When you're dealing with a guy like Cade coming in, it's obviously not on just one guy, but obviously Andrew gets that primary assignment as usual. Just, you know, I think Cade was 7 of 21, obviously really made him work. I mean, what'd you like about what Drew and everybody did as far as making it difficult for Cade to do what he wanted to do? Cunningham's
a great player, likely an all-star this year. He's been unstoppable. His stats are tremendous. I mean, he's the key guy in a major turnaround here. And so you just try to find somebody that's willing to take the challenge and make it hard. You know, and Drew's our guy, you know, and so, you know, he was on him from the beginning. He played him full court most of the night. He navigated through a lot of screens and, you know, moving screens, and it's tough sledding. I mean, it's a thankless job. You know, but we recognize, you know, the kind of wherewithal you have to stay with that for, you know, 39 minutes or whatever it was.
Obviously, Pascal gives you big shots all the time, but I mean, just how important was he he obviously there were some really key stretches, and then he hits that turnaround with 1 second on the shot clock, you know, late in the fourth. How big is that shot in particular, but just how important was he in terms of having a guy you could go to over and over again when you needed buckets tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he's our creator. You know, he and Ty does it a different way. Pascal does it, you know, at the elbow, you know, in isolation in the post. And he's been the guy we've gone to down the stretch for most of the year. And, you know, the play with 1 second, you know, we just drew up a play to get him the ball and just give him a chance to maybe get a foul or maybe get a bucket. And, you know, that shot really was the shot that did it. And, you know, he's a unique player, and that's a unique ability.
That shot from Siakam was big. How about this one? The first points of the game, fitting when Miles Turner scores 28 that he makes the first basket. FanDuel had those odds for Turner to score first in this one at 6.5 to 1. Now for the FanDuel same game parlay, the player props. Miles Turner again. We showed you Miles Turner roughly even odds to have at least 15 points. Had this with ease, Chris.
Yeah, he had 19 at the half, so he had easily gotten past the 15 points with those 5 first-half threes.
Miles Turner really stretching the defense, and as Rick Carlisle noted, he really liked the way he played, the aggressive mindset, but when those shots are falling, it opens everything else up. I looked up after the first quarter, and Pascal Siakam, I believe, had 3 assists in his first stint. So he finishes with 7, well above the 4 we showed on Pacers Live pregame.
I mean, what a night for Siakam. 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, and that was a backbreaker for Detroit right there.
Siakam really got the Pacers started in this game, and this is the one of the 3 that was deemed to be the most likely. It was the one that just barely made it. It was Tobias Harris, a -380 favorite to get double figures. He had just that, 10 points in the game. So check Miles Turner, at least 15 points. Check Pascal Siakam, at least 4 assists. He had 7. And Tobias Harris hits double figures. That same game parlay pays odds of plus 433 at FanDuel. A couple of other games yet to tip off. That should be a good one in Sacramento. How about the Rockets and the Kings? Currently, Sacramento a 4.5-point favorite. A unique schedule really all season because of this trip to Paris, especially right now. You've got one more home game before the team will fly to Paris next week for 2 games in roughly a stretch of 11 days. So how important is it to get this win before that long flight coming up against the Sixers?
Yeah, I think very, very important. And remember, Philadelphia was a team that early in the season beat the Pacers in Indianapolis without Joel Embiid, without Paul George. That was a big night for Tyrese Maxey. I'm sure that the Pacers are thinking about that. But again, you want to go to Paris in those 2 games against Wemby and San Antonio on a roll. Right now, the Pacers on a roll.
23-19, and as I mentioned, 7-1 in the month of January, and now 10 wins in their last 11 games on the road. Should be a fun one on Saturday night, Gamebridge Fieldhouse. We hope to see you there. If not, please tune into the FanDuel Sports Network. We will be on the air at 6:30 p.m. Emotions running high. A physical Central Division showdown, but the Pacers grabbed the lead early and really never looked back. They took the Pistons' best shot and they prevailed in Detroit. We thank you so much for watching, and we will see you Saturday night from Gamebridge Fieldhouse.